The grand ballroom of the Royal Festival Hall buzzed with nervous energy as Britain's finest actors, directors, and film industry professionals gathered for the most prestigious night in British cinema. The BAFTA Awards ceremony had concluded just hours earlier, leaving winners clutching their golden masks while photographers captured every smile, every tear of joy, and every moment of triumph. Olivia Colman stood near the champagne reception area, her BAFTA award for Best Actress resting carefully on a nearby table. The weight of the evening's events hadn't quite settled in yet. Just months after her stunning portrayal of Queen and in The Favorite, she found herself surrounded by congratulations from peers who had watched her transform from a beloved comedy actress into one of Britain's most respected dramatic performers. Her dress, a deep emerald green that caught the light beautifully, had been chosen specifically for this night. She had spent weeks preparing for the possibility of winning, practicing acceptance speeches in her bathroom mirror, but nothing had prepared her for the actual moment when her name was called. The roar of the audience, the long walk to the stage, and the feeling of the BAFTA mask in her hands had felt surreal. Across the room, Rami Malek moved through clusters of industry veterans with a quiet confidence that had become his trademark. His BAFTA for Best Actor, earned through his transformative performance as Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, represented months of intense preparation and dedication. The prosthetic teeth, the studied mannerisms, and countless hours of watching Queen performances had all led to this moment. Rami's journey to this night had been particularly meaningful. Born to Egyptian immigrant parents, his success represented something larger than personal achievement. As he spoke with fellow nominees and industry leaders, he carried himself with the grace of someone who understood the responsibility that came with such recognition. The evening's atmosphere was electric with possibility. Rumors had been circulating for days about a special royal visit following the ceremony. Palace officials had remained tight-lipped, but seasoned BAFTA attendees knew the signs. The extra security personnel positioned discreetly around the venue, the careful coordination of guest movements, and the subtle changes to the usual post-ceremony schedule all pointed to something significant. Event organizers moved through the crowd with practiced efficiency, ensuring everything was perfect for what many suspected would be an unprecedented royal appearance. The British Film Institute had worked closely with Buckingham Palace for weeks, though the exact nature of the visit remained a carefully guarded secret until the very last moment. Industry veterans who had attended dozens of BAFTA ceremonies noticed the heightened energy in the room. Conversations carried an undercurrent of anticipation that went beyond the usual post-ceremony excitement. Winners posed for photographs while keeping one eye on the venue's main entrance, wondering if the evening held more surprises. The venue itself had been transformed for the occasion. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across polished marble floors, while elegant floral arrangements added touches of sophistication to every corner. The space felt both intimate and grand, perfect for celebrating British cinema's finest achievements while maintaining the dignity appropriate for such a prestigious event. As the evening progressed, guests began to notice subtle changes in the atmosphere. Security personnel appeared more alert, staff members moved with increased purpose, and there was a palpable sense that something extraordinary was about to unfold. The night that had already delivered incredible moments for British cinema was preparing to offer something even more memorable. Olivia found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this moment. From her early days in comedy television to her recent dramatic triumphs, every role had prepared her for the recognition she now held. The BAFTA award represented not just personal success, but validation of her artistic growth and the risks she had taken in pursuing more challenging material. Rami, meanwhile, stood quietly observing the room's energy. His experience portraying one of music's greatest icons had taught him to read audiences, to sense when something significant was about to happen. The subtle shifts in conversation, the way staff members glanced toward the main entrance, and the carefully contained excitement of event organizers all suggested that the evening's surprises were far from over. The stage was set for an encounter that would become one of the most talked-about moments in BAFTA history, bringing together newly crowned award winners and members of the British royal family in a celebration of artistic excellence that would be remembered for years to come. The atmosphere in the Royal Festival Hall shifted dramatically when palace officials made their discreet announcement to event organizers. Within minutes, a carefully orchestrated transformation began to take place. Security teams positioned themselves with military precision, while staff members made final adjustments to ensure everything would be perfect for the unexpected royal arrival. Prince William and Catherine, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, had decided to make a surprise visit to congratulate this year's BAFTA winners personally. Their decision represented a departure from typical royal protocol, reflecting their genuine passion for British arts and their desire to celebrate the industry's achievements in a more intimate setting. The royal couple had been following the BAFTA ceremony from Kensington Palace, watching as British talent was recognized on the international stage. William, as the president of BAFTA, felt a particular connection to the evening's events and had suggested the impromptu visit to Catherine during the ceremony's final moments. Catherine had immediately embraced the idea. Having developed a deep appreciation for film and theater through her various patronages, she understood the significance of the night's awards and the impact they would have on British cinema's global reputation. The opportunity to meet winners personally and celebrate their achievements appealed to her genuine interest in supporting creative arts. Their black Jaguar moved quietly through London's evening traffic, escorted by discreet security vehicles. Inside the car, William and Catherine discussed the winners they would soon meet. Both had seen The Favorite and been impressed by Olivia Colman's remarkable transformation in the role. They had also witnessed the global phenomenon that Bohemian Rhapsody had become, appreciating how Rami Malek's performance had introduced Queen's music to a new generation. As their motorcade approached the Royal Festival Hall, crowds of onlookers began to gather despite the late hour. Word of the royal visit had somehow leaked, and devoted royal watchers who monitored such movements had quickly assembled. Their presence added an extra dimension of excitement to an already extraordinary evening. Inside the venue, BAFTA officials worked with palace representatives to ensure the visit would proceed smoothly. The spontaneous nature of the appearance meant that normal royal visit protocols had been condensed into a matter of minutes rather than the usual weeks of preparation. Despite the compressed timeline, every detail was being carefully managed to ensure the evening's success. Olivia Colman received word of the impending royal arrival while speaking with fellow nominees near the awards display area. The news initially left her speechless, then sparked a mixture of excitement and nervous energy that was visible to everyone around her. The prospect of meeting the future King and Queen of England while still processing her BAFTA win created a surreal combination of emotions. Her mind raced through everything she knew about royal protocol. Having portrayed Queen and so recently, she found herself thinking about the historical relationships between monarchs and artists throughout British history. The irony of meeting real royalty just months after playing a queen was not lost on her, adding an extra layer of significance to the anticipated encounter. Rami Malek learned of the royal visit while reviewing interview requests with his publicist. His immediate reaction was one of profound honor, mixed with the realization that this night was becoming even more historically significant than he had imagined. The idea that his portrayal of Freddie Mercury had caught royal attention added weight to his achievement and deepened his appreciation for the evening's events. The venue's energy transformed as news of the royal arrival spread among guests. Conversations took on a different quality, with everyone suddenly more aware of their posture, their words, and their appearance. The post-ceremony celebration was evolving into something far more formal and significant than anyone had anticipated. Event staff made final preparations for the royal arrival, ensuring that pathways were clear and that winners would be properly positioned for introductions. The informal nature of the visit meant that traditional receiving lines and formal presentations would be replaced by more natural, conversational encounters that would allow for genuine interaction between the royals and the award recipients. Catherine chose her outfit carefully during the brief journey to the venue. Understanding that photographs of the evening would likely be scrutinized for years to come, she selected pieces that would be both appropriate for the formal nature of a BAFTA event and comfortable enough for the extended conversations she hoped to have with winners and industry professionals. As their car pulled up to the venue's main entrance, William and Catherine could see the excitement building among the assembled crowd. Flashbulbs began firing immediately, creating a light show that announced their arrival to anyone within miles of the Royal Festival Hall. The spontaneous nature of their visit had created exactly the kind of authentic moment they had hoped to achieve. The stage was now set for a meeting that would bring together British royalty with the nation's most celebrated actors, creating memories that would last long beyond the evening's final moments, and establishing new connections between the royal family and the creative community they had chosen to honor. The moment Prince William and Catherine stepped through the grand entrance of the Royal Festival Hall, the entire atmosphere transformed. Guests who had been celebrating their BAFTA victories suddenly found themselves part of something far more extraordinary than they had imagined possible. The informal post-ceremony gathering had evolved into an impromptu royal reception that would be remembered as one of the most significant nights in BAFTA history. William, dressed in a perfectly tailored black dinner jacket, moved with the natural confidence that came from years of public appearances. However, tonight felt different even for him. As BAFTA's president, he had attended many ceremonies, but this spontaneous decision to meet winners personally represented his genuine commitment to supporting British creative talent. Catherine appeared radiant in a midnight blue gown that caught the venue's lighting beautifully. Her choice to attend reflected not just royal duty, but personal interest in celebrating achievements that had brought international recognition to British cinema. She had specifically requested briefings about each winner's journey to success, wanting their conversations to be meaningful rather than merely ceremonial. BAFTA officials quickly guided the royal couple toward the reception area, where Olivia Colman and Rami Malek were positioned among other winners and nominees. The careful choreography ensured that introductions would flow naturally, while allowing photographers to capture the historic moments without overwhelming the intimate nature of the encounters. Olivia Colman stood with her BAFTA award nearby, still processing the surreal nature of what was unfolding. Months of playing Queen and had given her insights into royal protocol, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of meeting actual royalty while holding Britain's highest film honor. Her natural warmth and humor, which had endeared her to audiences worldwide, would soon be directed toward the future King and Queen of England. The first introduction took place near the venue's main reception area, where crystal champagne flutes reflected the soft lighting and created an elegant backdrop for the historic meeting. William approached Olivia first, his genuine smile immediately putting her at ease despite the formal circumstances. "Congratulations on your incredible win tonight," William said, extending his hand with a warmth that had made him one of Britain's most beloved royals. "Catherine and I watched your performance in The Favorite and were absolutely captivated by your transformation. Queen and came alive through your portrayal in a way that was both historically informed and deeply human." Olivia's response reflected both her natural humility and her genuine surprise at the royal couple's knowledge of her work. "Your Royal Highness, I cannot believe you're here tonight, and I'm even more amazed that you've seen the film. Playing a queen and then meeting real royalty in the same year feels like something from a dream." Catherine joined the conversation with enthusiasm that immediately demonstrated her genuine interest in Olivia's craft. "We were particularly struck by how you managed to show Queen Anne's vulnerability beneath all the power and ceremony. The emotional complexity you brought to the role was extraordinary. How did you prepare for such a challenging historical portrayal?" The question sparked a detailed discussion about historical research, working with dialect coaches, and the psychological preparation required for such a demanding role. Olivia found herself explaining her process with the same passion she might show to fellow actors, while William and Catherine listened with the focused attention that demonstrated their sincere interest in the artistic process. Meanwhile, Rami Malek waited nearby with other winners, observing the royal interactions while mentally preparing for his own introduction. His Academy Award-winning portrayal of Freddie Mercury had brought global attention to both his abilities and the story of Queen's legendary frontman. The opportunity to discuss this achievement with British royalty felt particularly significant given the band's deep connection to British culture. When William and Catherine moved to meet Rami, the conversation immediately turned to the cultural impact of Bohemian Rhapsody and its role in introducing Queen's music to new generations. William, who had grown up listening to Queen's music, expressed particular appreciation for how Rami had captured not just Freddie Mercury's stage presence, but also his more private moments of vulnerability and artistic struggle. The physical transformation was remarkable, Catherine noted, but what impressed us most was how you captured Freddie's essence without ever making it feel like mere imitation. You brought genuine emotional depth to someone who was already larger than life. Rami's response revealed the extensive research and preparation that had gone into his performance. Your Royal Highness, the responsibility of portraying someone so beloved by British audiences was something I carried throughout the entire process. Freddie Mercury represented such a unique spirit of creativity and authenticity that I felt obligated to honor not just his memory, but his contribution to British cultural heritage. The conversation continued with discussions about music, performance, and the power of film to preserve and celebrate cultural legacies. Both William and Catherine demonstrated knowledge that went far beyond polite small talk, engaging with specific elements of Rami's performance and asking questions that revealed their genuine appreciation for his artistic choices. Photographers captured these interactions with discretion, understanding that they were documenting moments of historic significance. The images would later become iconic representations of the night, when British royalty personally celebrated the achievements of the nation's most talented performers. As the evening progressed, other BAFTA winners and nominees were introduced to the royal couple, each conversation revealing William and Catherine's genuine commitment to supporting British creative talent. The spontaneous nature of their visit had created exactly the kind of authentic engagement they had hoped to achieve. As the evening continued, the conversations between the royal couple and the BAFTA winners deepened beyond the initial formal introductions. The Royal Festival Hall's elegant setting provided the perfect backdrop for discussions that would reveal the personal passions and genuine interests that connected British royalty with the nation's most celebrated creative talents. Prince William found himself drawn into an extensive conversation with both Olivia Colman and Rami Malek about the responsibility that comes with portraying real historical figures on screen. His unique perspective, growing up within the very institution that Olivia had portrayed in The Favorite, added fascinating dimensions to their discussion about historical accuracy versus dramatic interpretation. There's always a balance between respecting historical truth and serving the story you're trying to tell, William observed, his comments reflecting years of living within royal tradition while understanding the importance of making history accessible to modern audiences. What matters most is capturing the humanity behind the crown or the public persona. Olivia responded with genuine curiosity about William's own experience with historical representation. Your Royal Highness, you've lived with the weight of knowing that your every action becomes part of history that others will someday portray. How does that awareness affect how you approach your public role? The question sparked one of the evening's most memorable exchanges, as William shared insights about the strange experience of seeing one's family portrayed in films and television, while acknowledging the importance of artistic interpretation in helping people understand complex historical relationships and motivations. Catherine, meanwhile, had become deeply engaged with Rami Malek about the cultural impact of Bohemian Rhapsody beyond its entertainment value. Her background in art history had given her a particular appreciation for how artistic works can preserve and transmit cultural memory across generations. What struck me most about your performance, Catherine explained, was how it managed to celebrate Freddie Mercury's artistic genius while also addressing the more difficult aspects of his story. The film became a bridge between his legacy and audiences who might never have discovered Queen's music otherwise. Rami's response revealed the profound responsibility he had felt throughout the filming process. "Your Royal Highness," Freddie Mercury represented something uniquely British in many ways. That spirit of creative rebellion combined with genuine musical sophistication. Bringing his story to new audiences felt like preserving an essential part of British cultural identity. The conversation evolved into a broader discussion about the role of film in preserving cultural memory, with Catherine sharing observations about how different art forms serve similar functions in maintaining connections between past and present. Her genuine expertise in art and cultural preservation added depth to exchanges that might otherwise have remained at the level of polite social interaction. As the evening progressed, other industry professionals and BAFTA winners were gradually introduced to the royal couple, each encounter building on the foundation of genuine intellectual curiosity and mutual respect that had been established. Directors, producers, and performers found themselves engaged in substantive conversations about their craft, their inspirations, and their hopes for British cinema's future. The informal nature of the gathering allowed for the kind of extended conversations that rarely occur during formal royal events. Without the constraints of rigid schedules and predetermined talking points, both William and Catherine were able to explore topics that genuinely interested them, while learning about creative processes that were far removed from their own daily experiences. Photographers and journalists who had initially focused on capturing the novelty of the royal appearance gradually recognized that they were documenting something more significant. Authentic exchanges between representatives of different British institutions who shared common commitments to excellence, tradition, and innovation. The venue staff worked seamlessly to ensure that the extended royal visit proceeded smoothly, adjusting lighting, managing crowd flow, and coordinating with security personnel while maintaining the relaxed atmosphere that had made such meaningful conversations possible. Their professionalism allowed the evening's participants to focus entirely on the historic interactions taking place. As midnight approached, the realization that this extraordinary evening would eventually have to end began to influence conversations. Both the royal couple and the award winners seemed reluctant to conclude encounters that had exceeded everyone's expectations for depth and significance. William made a point of speaking individually with several other winners and nominees, ensuring that his presence celebrated the full range of achievements represented in the room. His conversations with directors, cinematographers, and supporting actors demonstrated the breadth of his appreciation for filmmaking as a collaborative art form. Catherine spent considerable time discussing the technical aspects of period filmmaking with costume designers and production designers, her questions revealing an understanding of how visual elements contribute to storytelling that impressed professionals who rarely found such informed royal interest in their specialized work. The evening had evolved from a surprise royal visit into a celebration of British creative excellence that brought together different aspects of the nation's cultural heritage in ways that none of the participants had anticipated. The spontaneous nature of the encounter had created space for authentic relationships to develop between royalty and artists. As the formal part of the evening began to wind down, plans were already forming for future interactions that might build on the foundations established during this remarkable night. The success of the spontaneous visit had demonstrated the value of bringing British royalty into direct contact with the creative community in informal settings. As the historic evening drew to its close, the impact of the royal visit had already begun to resonate far beyond the walls of the Royal Festival Hall. Social media erupted with images and accounts from guests who had witnessed the unprecedented gathering, while major news organizations scrambled to cover a story that had unfolded with no advance warning or official announcement. The final conversations between Prince William, Catherine, and the evening's honorees took on a more personal quality as the formal aspect of the visit gave way to genuine exchanges between individuals who had discovered unexpected common ground. The initial nervousness that had characterized early interactions had been replaced by warm familiarity and mutual respect. Olivia Colman found herself in the remarkable position of offering advice to Catherine about dealing with public scrutiny and maintaining authenticity while living under constant observation. Their conversation revealed surprising parallels between the experiences of acclaimed actresses and working royals, both of whom must balance public expectations with private humanity. The strange thing about playing Queen Anne, Olivia reflected, was realizing how much the role of royalty demands constant performance, even in private moments. Your Royal Highness, you navigate that reality every day with such grace. I only had to sustain it for the length of filming. Catherine's response demonstrated both humility and insight about her own position. But you had to create an entire character from historical fragments and bring genuine emotion to someone who existed centuries ago. In many ways, that requires more courage than simply being yourself in public, which is all I really have to do. Rami Malek spent his final minutes with Prince William discussing the global responsibility that comes with representing British culture on international stages. Their conversation touched on everything from the Commonwealth's cultural diversity to the power of storytelling in building bridges between different communities and traditions. What impressed me most about Bohemian Rhapsody, William shared, was how it celebrated someone who was both quintessentially British and completely unique. Freddie Mercury never fit easily into conventional categories, and yet he became one of our greatest cultural ambassadors. Rami's response revealed his deep appreciation for the opportunity his performance had created. Your Royal Highness, the film opened doors for me to represent not just Freddie's story, but the broader spirit of creativity and inclusion that makes British arts so powerful internationally. That responsibility is something I carry into every project now. As the evening's official program concluded, both William and Catherine made impromptu decisions to extend their visit beyond what palace protocol would normally allow. Their genuine enjoyment of the conversations and their recognition of the event's historic significance led them to spend additional time with winners, nominees, and industry professionals who had made the evening possible. The extended royal presence allowed for photographs and interactions that would become iconic images of the night when British royalty personally celebrated the achievements of the nation's creative community. These moments, captured by professional photographers and shared instantly across global media platforms, would become lasting symbols of the connection between traditional British institutions and contemporary artistic excellence. Event organizers found themselves managing a visit that had grown far beyond its original scope, but their careful coordination ensured that every additional moment was handled with the dignity and attention to detail that such an occasion demanded. The success of the extended visit would later influence how future royal engagements with the arts community were planned and executed. Industry veterans who had attended decades of BAFTA ceremonies unanimously declared this the most memorable evening in the organization's history. The combination of exceptional artistic achievements and genuine royal engagement had created something unprecedented in British cultural life. As Prince William and Catherine finally prepared to depart, their farewell conversations with Olivia Colman and Rami Malek included invitations for future interactions and expressions of hope that the evening's success would lead to expanded royal support for British creative industries. Tonight has reminded us of the incredible talent that represents Britain on the world stage, William stated as he prepared to leave. We hope this won't be the last time we have the opportunity to celebrate your achievements in such an intimate setting. Catherine added her own perspective on the evening's significance. The conversations we've shared tonight have given us new insights into the dedication and artistry that make British film and television so respected globally. We're honored to have been part of celebrating your success. The royal couple's departure was met with sustained applause from everyone present, acknowledging not just their presence, but their genuine engagement with the artistic community throughout the evening. Their willingness to extend the visit and participate in substantive conversations had transformed what could have been a formal obligation into a celebration that would be remembered for decades. As guests began to leave the Royal Festival Hall, The consensus was universal that they had witnessed something extraordinary. The spontaneous royal visit had elevated an already significant BAFTA ceremony into a historic celebration of British creative excellence that brought together different aspects of the nation's cultural heritage in unprecedented ways. Media coverage of the event would continue for weeks, with detailed accounts of conversations, analysis of the photographs, and speculation about the long-term impact on relationships between the royal family and the arts community. The success of the evening would influence how future BAFTA ceremonies were planned and would establish new precedents for royal engagement with British cultural institutions. For Olivia Colman and Malek, the evening had added an extraordinary dimension to their BAFTA victories, creating memories that would last long beyond the shelf life of any award. Their achievements had been personally celebrated by the future King and Queen of England in conversations that revealed shared commitments to excellence, authenticity, and the power of storytelling to connect people across cultural and social boundaries. The royal encounter at BAFTA had become far more than a surprise visit. It had evolved into a defining moment that celebrated the very best of British creative talent, while demonstrating the continuing relevance of traditional institutions in supporting contemporary artistic achievement.